Welcome back in TFA, back again with another video. Today we're going to be discussing some Week 11 wide receiver sleepers. Don't be sleeping on these guys, all right? So with that being said, let's jump right into it. Cody, who are some guys that people are sleeping on this week?
Yeah, you mentioned this guy actually at the end of our wide receiver rankings video. He's kind of on that fringe for us. I think we have him at like wide receiver 35 or 36, Kenny Galladay. But I'm just going to mention the New York Giants pass catchers just as a whole. Like if we look at Tampa Bay, it kind of seems like their secondary is turned around from where they were at the beginning of the year. But I think that has a lot more to do with the schedule they have faced recently. They're kind of middle of the pack in terms of fantasy points allowed. They're all the way up, and they're like a top half team in terms of their pass DVOA this year. But this is who they have faced in their past couple of games. Washington, then they had the Saints before that, the Bears, the Eagles, who threw for 113 passing yards, and then the Dolphins before that. But in all their games, in the 4 games leading up to that, 391 from the Cowboys, 293 from the Falcons, 331 from Matt Stafford, and then 295 from the Patriots. I think, you could potentially roll out any of these guys, Kenny Galladay, Kadarius Toney, Sterling Shepard. Hopefully after coming off of the bye, everyone there is rested up. I mentioned this in the running back episode, but they are 10.5-point dogs on the road at Tampa Bay. So I think you can plug any of those guys in. Another guy I want to touch on real quickly is Michael Gallup. Love to see him coming back. And I know the KC defense has, been better the past few weeks, but they haven't played a passing offense like the Cowboys. They definitely haven't faced a trio like the Cowboys wide receiver group has. In Gallup's first game back, he ran 21 routes. That was only one fewer than CeeDee Lamb. Amari Cooper led both of them, had like 33. Gallup was also second in targets with 5, and he only trailed CeeDee Lamb and Tony Pollard, who had 7 in that game. And we're looking at a game here. We've talked about this before. Total is sitting at 56 points. That's been bet up from 55. Both these teams have implied point totals over 26 because the spread is only 2. I think Gallup is a nice option here for people that either hung on to him or were able to pick him up off of waivers if someone dropped him, with lack of IR spots or something like that. But I do like Michael Gallup as someone sitting outside of our wide receiver 3s who could have a big game this week.
The only thing that concerns me about that game is quite simply, or not even that game, but I think this moving forward with Michael Gallup back, Dalton Schultz, all the pass catchers they have, that somebody's probably going to get squeezed out every single week, right? And so where, I think some of these wide receivers are going to be a little inconsistent, whether it's Amari Cooper, whether it's CeeDee Lamb, or whether it's Michael Gallup. But at least for this game, this is going to be a really solid matchup for all of their pass catchers. So I do like that. For me, I'm going to hit on Donovan Peoples-Jones, somebody that I really have liked this season, somebody that I have advocated for people to go out and pick up. He did not have a great game last week, but prior to that, he had 3 straight games, double-digit fantasy points. We've seen a ceiling this year where he had 26.1 against Arizona, scored 3 touchdowns over the last 4 weeks, has had at least 70 receiving yards at all but one of those games. And that was last week against New England, where they just got absolutely boat raced. But this week, they get a much better matchup. They face the Detroit Lions. So if you're looking for a team to correct your woes, this would be the team to do so against. And he gets a terrific matchup against Armani O. He's allowed 70.7% catch rate and 94.9 passer rating on the season for 400 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns on the year. So Donovan Peoples-Jones definitely makes a lot of sense this week. It's somebody that I think is a sneaky ad and a sneaky play. And then the other guy I want to hit on is Deontay Harris. Not as a real sexy name here for the New Orleans Saints, but he has been somebody on the season. He has scored double-digit fantasy points in every single week over the last 5 weeks, but one where he had 8.7. Now, he doesn't have an incredibly high ceiling either. The most he's scored is 14.2, and that was against Washington, but that was mainly because he's not somebody who really finds the end zone. But in that one game, he did. One reception for 72 yards and a touchdown where he house called it. He does definitely have that kind of speed to be able to do something like that, but he does get a really good matchup here in this one as well against the Eagles. And he will be seeing primarily Steven Nelson in this game. He has allowed a 65% catch rate, 105.1 passer rating as well. So I think Deontay Harris makes a little bit of sense as well. Somebody as kind of that flex option if you like to go there. I also don't mind Traquan Smith. He's somebody we're going to continue to talk about as the season goes on because I think Traquan Smith is kind of a sneaky name people should be paying attention to. He has absolutely an elite matchups moving on out the rest of the year in the slot. Every one of his slot matchups are fantastic. So I like Traquan Smith as well. Brian Edwards, somebody that I have advocated for. I like him in this matchup. I think this Bengals and Raider game has a chance to absolutely go nuclear here. So I love that matchup for Brian Edwards as well. He really looks like he is the deep threat in this offense. And then, past that, Marcus Johnson, who's a wide receiver for Tennessee. Don't mind him. I think that we saw him last week without Julio Jones, 5 receptions for 100 yards. Looks to be the number 2 wide receiver in this offense. So against Houston, he makes a little bit of sense as well. I think that kind of wraps up the guys that I really wanted to hit on here. I appreciate everybody checking out the video. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.